So in last two sessions, we understand the microservice architecture and how we will implement microservices, what forces us to move towards microservices, and what are all the challenges that we have in terms of communication or security. Many things that we have discussed, right? Configurations. When it is a single application, there are less number of management issues. But whereas when applications count increases, maintaining configurations, maintaining security, and sharing the details with other teams, that all will be difficult area. So we found that to manage configurations easily, config server concept has been given, and to share our application paths with any team, given a gateway, so that we can abstract or we can hide actual backend services URLs with frontend or with any other client which they want to connect with our backend services. Okay, yesterday we saw example gateway. Instead of calling direct product service or customer service, we requested for the product data or customer data via gateway. So gateway was helping us to route front end request to backend. Front end to backend routing we did using gateway. Now today I'll show you a load balancer using Eureka. Using Eureka, we can balance the load of our backend calls. What does it mean? So definitely when we deploy our services somewhere in a server, here and there you may get problems in that server. As because servers also physical machines running somewhere else. One minute. As this backend services are running somewhere in some server, in some port, there is a chance, minimum chances or maximum chances. We don't know. At any point of time, our services may go down. For such scenarios, let me give a small example. Same product service, customer service example if you see. From this front end, users are calling product services via gateway. So here gateway, via gateway, it is routing to backends. So gateway routing your front end request to backends. And this product service is running in some host machine. So I'll give name machine 1 or server 1. And this is running in server 2. And if you want to maintain this backend services 100% available all the time 24 by 7 without any failure, alone running in a single machine is not the right solution. I mean, you should have a clone or another copy of the service should run it in a different machine, maybe in different host, so that if one host down due to some technical problems, another host will help you there to continue your business. Let's say from front end business trying to fetch customer details and the server 2 went down, and very crucial business hours they need that information. But if this host is down, nobody can help. So until finding out the problem in this host, is it a network issue or power issue or whatever might happen. Sometimes clouds also going down due to some gateway issues, XYZ. So during the failure of a host, I want to redirect my request to another host. Some kind of load balancing I want to do. So replication factor, if it is a cloud, it will provide automatic replication, but without the cloud in our own infrastructure, if you want to provide that, some server 3, server 5, in 3 hosts, the same service is running to maintain the failover. In case of failure situations, I want to still run my services. So server 4 and server 6. The second service is running, customer service. Somebody should watch them and should identify which service is currently running. So here Eureka will help from that point. Eureka will help. We call it as a naming service or registry service. If you remember, data source objects we used to create using WebLogic. Under WebLogic, we used to create data source and we used to register it. Even in web service also we register web services into naming servers. Similarly, similarly, Eureka is providing naming service. So what we can do here is, what we can do in this Eureka naming server, you can register all your available clients. You can register all your available clients with your service name. Let's say product service name, I want to give some PS. And you can mention all the available host, which means your IP address and host, or any name, domain name which you assign to your host. You can give that host here. So server 1 host, server 3 host, server 5 host you can configure here for product service. Same way for customer service also, you can give a name and you can register them. In server 2, in server 4, in server 6 it is running. Give the complete paths of your services. I mean, you need not to go to naming server and you need to keep configuration here. Naming servers, you need to run it always. This should be always running. And if you configure Eureka server path in your local product service code, right? Here, if you configure Eureka, if you configure it as a Eureka client, if your application is a Eureka client, just Eureka client dependency you need to add. And this server path you need to give here. Eureka client, comma, the Eureka server path. Eureka path. We should give. Okay, just we need to ensure this Eureka server is running here before running your Eureka client. As soon as you run your service in host to S1, S3, S5, all these host including your IP address will go and register here, like your telephone directory. In telephone directory, how our phone numbers are registered, similar way this complete service host and ports will be registered. They will go directly here and register into Eureka server. Same way you can register your customer service also. You can make this one also Eureka client and give Eureka server path. Here also gateway also make it as Eureka client and path. So what will happen end of the day? All your services, all your backend services, even gateway also will go and register into Eureka. They will go and register into Eureka. Why we need this Eureka here? Eureka will act as a load balancer. Eureka will act as a load balancer here. How it will act? When there is a request from front end, now onwards in gateway while routing it, right? Front end URL to backend while we are routing, we just give Eureka server. In Eureka server, whatever name this product service or customer service registered, right? Just we will use that service names instead of path. Front end URL to product service or front end URL to customer service. Let me increase the font. So we will give just names. We'll give just backend names, backend service names, which are registered in Eureka. Backend service names only we will give. What will happen when there is a request from front end? Something Dikshit came and he want to get customers information. Dikshit want to fetch customers details, customer data he want to fetch. So when he requests for customer data using customer get all URL, maybe from front end he will use a button to generate action. Now that call will go to gateway, and for these customers we have customer service configured front end URL to customer service. What gateway will do? It will ask Eureka. It will ask Eureka, hey Eureka, customer service request I received. Tell me in which server it is running healthy. It will ask in which server it is running healthy. In a round robin, Eureka will do what? In a round robin, okay, if service 2 server 2, if it is running fine, it will give that server 2 path to this user request for Dikshit. Meanwhile, another user came here and he asked again for customer data. Then again gateway will ask Eureka, now tell me which is the current availability. If server 2 is busy, it will give immediately server 4. If server 4 also busy, it will give server 6. In a round robin, it will pick up the available server and it will redirect your request to that so and so service. So what it will ensure is, in case if service 2 fails, it will use service 4 and service 6 and it will balance your load. Though if it is, meanwhile you can fix service 2, server 2 and you can restart server 2. So that 3 will be in live. The server 2 also will come and register here back so that it will be available. So meanwhile, if any service downs, then that one also you can fix and you can register it. So always it will ensure that your data will not lose. It will ensure that always your request will execute successfully without any failure. Let us see example, the same example, okay? Same example. Just we will add Eureka client. To yesterday's example. Let me add just Eureka client. Before that, we need to have Eureka server. Okay. So here I have Eureka server. So while creating Eureka server Spring Boot application, which dependency I need to add? Just from your dependencies, you need to add Netflix Eureka here. And mandatorily, while using Eureka, right? You can observe I will use actuator also. We'll talk about actuator and swaggers, okay, in next discussion, okay. They are again very important. Now here I have Netflix Eureka server. I'm using Netflix Eureka server for Eureka server, okay. One dependency added Netflix Eureka server, and check configurations which I added in properties. Yeah, so this Eureka running in which port? You can make it dynamic or you can keep it in properties, well, in how many ways we can configure it. So it is running in 8761, and these are additional two configurations just to make sure it is not doing its own self registration. Okay, forget about them, not mandatory. Just add Eureka server dependency and put your required server path, port number, and in your Spring Boot main application, add enable Eureka server. Simple. Just one dependency, one annotation. Bus. Enable Eureka server. And port number also optional. If 8080 is available in your host, you need not to configure it. Why always I'm configuring ports? Because 8080 is not available for me. That's why unique ports. At a time I'm trying to running multiple applications in a same machine. So same port number I can't able to use. That's why I'm using different ports. Okay. And you need to add enable Eureka server. That's it. What it will do, Eureka server dependency I added, right? It will provide you a Eureka server dashboard. Once it is up, let me show you. Just I started Eureka server. So this should run always 24 by 7. Your Eureka server should be running so that it will allow your clients to register. This is a naming service. Okay. So I think this is started. Eureka server is started in port 8761. Just let me try to access it. Let me try to access it. Localhost 8761 and see. I got one default dashboard here. Spring Eureka dashboard. See here what I have. Importantly, it is showing instances currently registered with Eureka. This is a registry. It is showing are there any services registered yet? No registered. Nothing registered yet. No clients we are running. So no instances are available. Nothing registered yet. Apart from that, it is showing my system information also. Okay. Now in this server, I will register one by one all the clients. Which clients? Gateway is one client, and we have product service, right? Yesterday we ran product service is one client, and customer service, I believe, is another client. Let's run them. Excuse me. I believe this one, right? Product service. Yeah. So simple product service we have. So now I want to make or I want to register my product service into Eureka. So to register that you need to add two things I told you, right? In your client applications, you need to add Eureka client dependency and you need to add Eureka server path. So just let me enable Eureka client. Add Eureka client dependency. Netflix Eureka client. If you see difference, here we are using Eureka server. Here we are using Eureka client. I want to register this product service into Eureka. Okay. And Eureka client URL you should mention. Eureka client is available in localhost 8761/Eureka. So while registering this application, how it will register? Whatever name you have given, right? So it will go to Eureka and it will say my name is product service and I am running in 9090 in same localhost only. So please register me. So with this name it will register whatever name you give here. If you give PS, with PS it will register product service, product service. We give fully qualified names. With this name, with this port, it will go to Eureka and it will register it. Along with this Eureka server path and your Eureka client dependency, just add enable discovery client. Yes. So that it will ensure that your service will go and register into Eureka. Just try it, right click and run it as a Spring Boot application which is running in 9090. Just refresh it. Yeah, if you observe now here, it is showing one application name product service, and it is showing up. The status is up, available in one zone. Okay, this is up. So a default something desktop host number it is assigning. Via actuator it is trying to fetch some information, but yeah, just ignore it. What is the port number of it? 9090. Oh, is it generated a new port? Let me see. It is running in 9091. Maybe we should have here run configurations. Server dot port number must be passing from uh, here we are giving 9091. Okay. So whichever you given via run configuration that is overriding this 9091. No confusion. Yeah. Now using this namespace, one namespace also generated for localhost instead of localhost. Some namespace also generated, and using this I can able to fetch this information. But you need not to give all this to your clients. Anyway, this is going to again routed via gateway. Okay. So my customer product service is running. Let me register customer service also, like product service. My customer service also I'll register. Same stuff. Just enable Eureka client. Including Eureka client, we should have actuator. Don't forget. 3.1.5 in product service. Hmm, Okay, let me do the similar configuration here. Hmm. So the dependency is added, and the next thing, give a name to your application. Excuse me. 9080 customer service, and one more thing is just you need to mention enable discovery client. Okay. Let me try to run customer service and see whether it will register or not. Just refresh your dashboard and see. So now customer service also 9080 registered here. So I can able to call customer, get all customers using this customer service. Maybe I can fetch it. Yeah, customer details also get it. Okay. Finally, my two services are registered. Now here we are talking about load balancing. In case if one service or one server is not available, it should able to pick the next available service, even for product service or customer service. So now we are running only one instance. If you want to run another instance of your same service, what you can do, you just right click, go to run configuration, run configuration, hyphen hyphen server dot port is equal to 9081. 9080 currently it is running, right? On port 9080. I'll give 9081 also. Apply and run. So in one more port, in same machine, as I don't have multiple machines, I am using same machine with different ports. Yeah, now you can see customer service is available up in two zones, in two ports actually. When you have two different machines, it will register the different machine host here. As I am using same desktop, right? It is showing same desktop here. If it is a different one, it will show here the different machine. But one is running in 9081 and one is running in 9080. When this multiple host will help, in case if one host is down, the another host will continue the business. Okay, you can call it as continuity of business or load balancing or failover, whatever it is. Same way you can register your product service also. Go to product service. So run configurations 9081. No, product service, product service 90912 to 9092. Apply and run. So one more copy of product service is running now. Okay. So now product service also came here. Product service also came here. So now customer service and product service is running in two hosts, each running in two host machines. Now let's go back to gateway and see how we can change this configuration. Now as I said, right, gateway also should be one Eureka. So let me enable Eureka client in gateway application. Okay. So Eureka client I enabled for gateway. and Eureka server path. As we are using YML, just YML based configuration. Okay, so Eureka client service path. And now coming to the routes, how we are configuring routes here. Instead of giving your application port numbers here, as product service is running in two ports, 9091 and 9092. This one 9080 and 9081. Now you need not to bother about. Yeah. So let me instead of keeping the standard URIs here, what you can do, you can configure your you can configure your application names here, which are there in your Eureka. In Eureka, with whichever name your services got registered, right? Application names, just you can use product hyphen service, customer hyphen service, bus, product service and customer service. Just use this load balancer. LB stands for load balancer. So you can configure here customer service. Now gateway also integrated with Eureka, and when I request for product details to gateway via 500, it may go to 9091 or 9092. When it is for customer, it may go to 9080 or 9081. Let's see how it will behave. Okay, run this gateway also, and gateway also will get registered here. Yeah, so your API gateway also got registered with the 500. Now with this URI, if I try to access customers data, okay, just customer service slash customer details, I'll call here. Okay, get all customers. See, it is giving customer details, but port number we are not printing here, right? That's why you don't know from which port it is coming. Let me prove it with product service. In product service, we are printing the port number also. From whichever server response is coming, right? That port also we configured there. So using gateway, I'm calling product service URL. So the request went and the response came from 9091. Now let me hit it again. Now you can see this response is from 9092. The previous response is different and this response is different. Click again. See, continuously it is adding. I think in iteration we added it. So the response is from 9091. Again I hit it. Now the response is from 9092. Means a different host. Altogether from different host you are getting responses. And you need not to worry if 9091 is went down. No worries. 9092 will continue as usual. If you go and shut down 9092 product service, right, we are checking. So product service, here it is running. Product service, here it is running in host 9092. Just shut down it. So 9092 service went down. Just refresh Eureka and see. For product service, we have 9091 only. Via gateway, now request for get all products. So I got response from 9091. Request again. Huh. 9091. Again, I'm getting white label error. This is strange. So as 9091 is available, let me inspect why I'm getting white label. Network. Now it is coming. No white label error. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. Strange. So I'm getting response from 9091 only. If 9092, somebody fixed it and they wanted to restart 9092 service. So if they restart 9092 service between after fix of the server, it will go up and again it will register back into Eureka. Yeah, now 9092 also came available here. Now when somebody request, okay, 909191919192 is available. 9092 came to live. I don't know it is coming here. Maybe gateway didn't get the latest information maybe from Eureka. It refreshed now. Yeah, it might be taking some time, but yeah, now it got maybe one more heartbeat. It might send and got the latest information, which is the current availability list. Yeah, now gateway dynamically switching between 9192. See, so this is how easily it will balance your load in case of failures. Okay. So implementing this is not too difficult. Just you need to add Eureka server dependency and across your clients Eureka client. Simple configuration with great features. Okay. So tomorrow we will continue further more. Okay, and I'll show you actuators and swagger documentation. What is the need of them? Okay, how they are useful, and we integrate all the topics together and we write one more application. Okay. Yeah, I think that's it for today. I'll share these examples. Okay, I'll share all these example config server and Eureka gateway and these two services. Okay, just go through these examples.